We have another really good question here, this time by Magi Cal Ninja, and my apologies if I got that name wrong. So this time it is, what in the world is a sheriff sale? Well, that's a really good question, so let's go ahead and dive into that. A sheriff sale is the sale of a foreclosed home. This can be a single family, multifamily, condo, you name it. If it goes to foreclosure, it can be sold at a sheriff sale. A sheriff sale takes place typically either at the county's courthouse steps or at the property's location. Sometimes, every once in a while, it is sold at a third-party location that is disclosed ahead of time, but typically it's one of the first two options. A sheriff sale, when you go to buy at a sheriff sale, typically, most of the time, you have to pay for the entire property with cash or a cashier's check. Usually they want a cashier's check because that's certifiable, but if you do not have to pay for the entire thing up front, you will have to, at a bare minimum, put a 10% down payment on that property. That is a non-refundable 10% down payment. So even if you do decide to back out and not buy the home, you are not getting your first 10% back. That being said, it is also on the buyer to conduct their own due diligence. So if you want to find out more about the property, you need to do that ahead of time before the sheriff sale, and you also need to do that on your own dime and your own time. That means you cannot ask them to do anything for you. The house will not be opened up. You will not have access to that home, and you will not even be able to go onto the property. That would be trespassing. What you can do is you can take a look at it from the outside, from the curb, not on the actual property itself, to see anything that you can about the property's condition. Unfortunately, you're not going to be able to get an inspection on this property, so you are taking that risk. But what you can do ahead of time is get a title report done on the property, so that way you know that there's not any back due taxes, child support liens, anything of that nature that could be liened against the property, so that way you can make sure that you at least own it free and clear when you do purchase that property. It is up to certain jurisdictions. Every place is different on how they handle this, but most of the time they're not going to allow you to get a loan on that property. You would have to get an independent loan that is not actually attached to that home. So you could go get yourself a personal loan to get the cash out to pay for that property, and then once you own the property, then you can refinance that, put that on the property, and pay off that other loan. But typically you're not able to get a loan on that property when you purchase it. So that being said, again, to recap here, at a sheriff sale, typically at the courthouse steps or at the property's location. This is only on homes that have been foreclosed upon. Also, the bank does get a chance to have an opening bid for what they want to try to take the property for. Typically, it doesn't go to the bank, but they do have the option to be able to do so. Hopefully that answers your question.